To most people playing Tekken, starting to play a new character is a daunting task. Look at you, you've just reached green ranks by mashing the living daylights out of your pad or stick. You're feeling unstoppable. Now your unblockable is being interrupted, your moves are being ducked, and your opponent is mashing even better than you. Now we're at the point where you actually want to learn some stuff and get better at the game, which is great. Fighting games are the most punishing for players who have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
What are you doing?
Huh? Me? Just hanging around.
But it's all part of the process. However, you run into a dilemma. Kazuya Mishima, who everyone told you was a basic character, has 17,000 moves. Where do you even begin? Every character has a jab that will be +1 on block. However, some characters have super long reaching strong jabs which make getting into your offense easier, and some characters have T-Rex arms. For example, Reina, who is apparently Heihachi's daughter, has inherited Miguel's stubby grabbers. Almost all characters will have a down forward 1 as a mid check, but same as a jab, some are better than others. Most characters will also have a down forward 2, which is usually a mid launcher, and a universal hop kick. Checking your character for these moves will be step 1 in building a basic understanding of your character. After you've checked these, you want to look at your move list and check all of the 1-button moves, as these will generally be all of your good pokes. Look for moves that are safe, meaning they are not -10 on block, and moves that have good frames on hit. You will do well to find a launcher from these moves too, if applicable. Generally find a high poke, a mid poke, and a low poke. These 3 or 4 moves you found will be the buttons that you click the most, so you're not just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. Now it's time to learn your character's punishes. This part is slightly more time consuming, as you will more than likely have to check through some more moves. But basically, for this part you want to find the 10 frame, 13 frame and 15 frame punisher, and it's as simple as finding your most damaging move with the correct frames. For example, you will punish a -10 move with one of your moves that has a 10 frame startup, and this is all pretty easy to see in training mode nowadays. You will also want to do the same for while standing punishment, which is what you would use for blocking lows, except that blocking lows starts at 11 frames, so you will want an 11 frame, 13 frame and a 16 frame punisher. However, keep in mind that some characters lack in this department and may not have a good 15 frame punish. Finally, you'll want to find a whiff punisher. A whiff punisher will generally be a long range move that either launches or does good damage that you can hit when your opponent hits air and is vulnerable. Figuring out your character's key pokes and punishers will really give you a good understanding on what your character's strengths and weaknesses are. Now, learn a combo, and I don't mean some huge wombo combo that does 463 damage that is hyper specific and needs 15 walls. I'm talking something super simple and that will most importantly work on every axis. I don't care if it does 35 damage, as long as it's easy and consistent, learn it. Now that you can do the basic Tekken stuff like poke, launch, combo and punish, you really want to get into what your character actually does. First you want to identify what type of character you're dealing with. For example, does your character focus on stances? If so, you'll see a bunch of stances in their move list. If they're string heavy, you'll see 10,000 strings. If they're a grappler, you'll notice that the throw section of the move list is significantly larger, etc. You then want to check out these unique things and try to first apply 1 or 2 things that you found from the move list. For example, Reina's Sentai stance has a mid attack and a low attack. This is only 2 moves, but it is a mix-up that immediately puts pressure on my opponent. As usual, it really doesn't take too long to identify what are the good moves and what are the bad ones. By now you should have a strong basic understanding of your character, and it shouldn't even have taken all that long. At this point you could probably just hop into some matches and get a feel of the character for yourself. With this basic understanding you can slowly build upon it by adding more and more tools to your arsenal. Learning matchup specific things comes with time, and most of the time you will have to get your ass beat multiple times before figuring out a solution. For example, Paul's death fist is actually punishable, or at least for most characters it is. But generally you won't be using one of your standard punishers, but instead something long range to counteract the pushback. So everyone, now that you've watched this guide, keep getting better, and go and learn your favourite Tekken weirdos, and eventually you'll become as good as me or Arslan Ash.